My name is Zanab Salim, and today I'll be walking you through the Colonial Pipeline ransomware case, which was a major cyber attack that shut down a huge piece of U.S. infrastructure and created a lot of federal policy changes. It is a really good example, along with the SolarWinds case, of how one weak link can harm an entire nation. So, what exactly happened? On May 7th, 2021, Colonial Pipeline was hit by a ransomware attack from a cyber criminal group called DarkSide, which has links to Russia. According to Bloomberg and CISA, the hackers accessed Colonial's network using a compromised VPN password. No multi-factor authentication was in place, which made things even easier for the attackers. This pipeline is huge. It stretches from Texas to New Jersey and delivers about 45% of the East Coast fuel supply. So when Colonial shut everything down to contain the attack, it caused widespread fuel shortages, especially in the Southeast. Gas stations ran dry, airlines were affected, and millions of consumers were caught in the panic. Colonial ended up paying about $5 million in ransom, according to routers, against government agencies' advice. Operations officially resumed by May 12th, but it took much longer to recover fully from this. The US government declared a state of emergency, and the attack really exposed how vulnerable our energy infrastructure is. In response, the Department of Homeland Security issued a new cybersecurity set of requirements for pipeline operators, and it also led to the executive order from the Biden administration to help modernize federal cybersecurity defenses. So what? The issue here is pretty clear. Poor cybersecurity hygiene in critical infrastructure. Colonial didn't have basic protections like MFA or network segmentation, which left them wide open. So what? The consequences were huge: fuel panic, flight reroutes, and economic disruption in general from a single weak point. It showed how unprepared private companies are for today's cyber threats. Looking ahead, the attack pushed major change though. According to CISA and a press release from the White House, it led to Executive Order 14028 under the Biden administration and new TSA rules requiring mandatory incident reporting. Public-private partnerships also grew, with CISA and the FBI working closely with companies to improve cyber readiness overall. For this case study, I used a SWOT analysis to break this down. Strengths: Colonial shut down pretty quickly to contain the threat, and they coordinated very well with DHS, FBI, and CISA. Besides the ransom thing, they also communicated with the public to help manage panic, which was a plus. Weaknesses: no MFA, outdated systems, and poor separation between IT and OT networks. According to CISA's 2023 report, they also weren't following basic security standards despite being a critical infrastructure provider. This was a general moment to invest in modern tools, implement zero trust architecture, and follow frameworks like the one from NIST and other government agencies. It also opened the door for more government support and industry leadership, which is also a plus. Currently, ransomware attacks are on the rise, with tactics getting more and more advanced every day. With this, there are more threats, and CISA has warned about copycat attacks and the risk of inconsistent cybersecurity regulation across sectors. If I were the CEO of Colonial, I would focus on two main areas. First, I would roll out zero trust architecture. That means MFA, endpoint detection, and real-time monitoring across all systems. We would also modernize legacy systems and properly segment the networks. I would also build a dedicated incident response team, combining internal IT with more federal support from CISA. We would also run quarterly audits based on NIST and TSA policies and regularly test those with cyber drills. The overall goal of this would be to make cybersecurity a core part of the company's policy and DNA in general, not just an afterthought as it was in this incident. Here are my references. I use government sources like the DHS, CISA, NIST, and the GAO, along with news outlets like Reuters. One challenge was a lack of full transparency from Colonial Pipeline on internal IT practices, but government briefings filled in key gaps. Thank you so much for listening.